Hey guys, in this video tutorial I am going to show you how to create this beautiful color wheel in SketchUp. So yes, there are certain graphics that you can create in SketchUp that aren't necessarily completely associated with floor plans or elevations or 3D scenes. And as you can see, it is more than capable of producing high quality graphics. And I know from my own experience studying with the National Design Academy, I studied their diploma in interior design. And as part of that course, one of the assignments when we studied, I think it was color psychology, we had to create a color wheel. And that's what you can see right in front of you right now. And we had the option of either creating the color wheel by hand or digitally. And I think at the time I used PowerPoint. And I felt that I wanted to do it digitally because it was just going to be quicker and more precise. And I still feel that way, that if you can do it digitally, why not? And one of the best software applications you can use to do that is SketchUp. So I'm going to show you how to create this exact color wheel, all the text, the nice backgrounds in SketchUp. I also use layout to do this, but I'm going to show you step by step, and let's go. Here we have our new SketchUp file, and as you can see, it's currently in 3D mode. I'm going to change the camera settings to top and then parallel projection, because that's the optimum camera settings for this particular project. Then I'm going to select the circle tool. I'm going to change the sides to 68 because that is the optimum number of sides when you're creating a circle. It means that the sides are going to be nice and smooth and you're getting a nice even number of segments if you want to create any further geometry within that circle. Okay, so let's click and drag, and I'm just going to make that 3000 just for the purposes of this tutorial, and then enter. Let's reverse that so that we have a nice white face. And what I'm going to do is draw a line in the center. Okay, so here's the center of the circle, and here is the center up here at the top. So I'm going to draw a line right here, and then I'm going to draw another line right here. If I remove the axes, you can see those two lines right there. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to separate or divide this little area here, this quarter, if you like, into 3. So in order to see things a little bit more clearly, I'm going to activate my endpoints. Okay, so endpoints are activated. And then what I'm going to do is click on this edge, right click and select divide. And then I'm going to type 3 and then enter. If I click off that in the white space just to the right hand side, you can see that we have 1, 2, 3 segments now in this one arch. Okay, and the rest is all just one seamless line there, or edge. Now what I'm going to do is select the line tool, and I'm going to connect those endpoints to the center of the circle. Okay, so easy guys, so easy. Now what we're going to do is some efficient workflows to make this a little bit quicker, because what we could do is create lines all the way around, do it all manually, but who has the time for that? But before I do that, what I'm going to do is just so that the end result is a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So what I mean by that is, see the way there's white separators that are very clear in that color wheel? I'm going to do that now. Okay, so I'm going to select this section of the circle. I'm going to go to my offset tool. I'm going to hover over the edge, click and drag, and I'm going to type 40. Okay, and I'm going to do the same with the other sections. So we're going to hover over the edge, click and drag, type 40. And the offset tool, if you're not aware of this, it creates the same shape that you have selected, and then you can decide whether you want to make it bigger or smaller, okay? So this is the shape that we want to mimic, but we're actually going to make it a little bit smaller, and the difference is 40 mil, okay? Now, what we're going to do is, I wonder, do I need to remove that yet? No, I won't. What we're going to do is just make that into a group. We're going to press M for move and then Control for copy. We're going to click and drag, and now we've made a copy. We're going to rotate that 90 degrees and hover over that end point, which is the center, and bring it over and let it snap onto the center of the circle and click, and then just click off that, okay? Then what we're going to do is select both of these groups. We're going to right click, select make group. We're going to press M for move, Control for copy, click and drag, following the green axis. You always must make sure that you're following the proper axis so that everything is precise and plumb, as in straight and true. Click, we're going to rotate that around 180 degrees. We're going to hover over the center mark here. We're going to click and drag. We're going to hover over the center mark of the original circle, and then we're going to click. That's how easy that is, guys. Now, I want to remove the original little bits of circle here because there's a little bit of duplication going on. Because if you remember, we created that main circle, and then we positioned copies on top of that. So I'm just going to delete that. And what I'm going to do is select everything and just explode twice so that everything is exploded. Okay. Then what I'm going to do, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to remove the endpoints because we really don't need those anymore. And I'm going to remove the visibility of the axes. So you go to view and then you toggle axes. And I'm just going to zoom in because I want to remove all of the geometry that I no longer need. Okay, so that's the outside edge here of the circle. I no longer need that, so I'm just going to delete it. So let's just delete all of this. We don't need any of that, and we're zooming all the way in so that we can get a good look at this geometry. And then I'm going to delete all the little separators here, all of those lines that are in between each of these sections, or those segments of the circle, okay? So let's delete all of those center lines because we don't need those. And then we're going to select zoom extents to center that circle and to ensure that it's maximized to the full size of the screen. We're going to go to scenes and we're going to put that on a scene. We're going to select create scene, and there we go. And that means that we have just organized that now so that every time we open our file, boom, that's what we see. So now is the time that we're going to start applying all the wonderful color, okay? Before we do that, I'm just going to put the axes back because I don't recommend that you remove visibility of the axes. The axes is very important, and I would never recommend to do that. So because I'm a creature of habit, I have to make it visible again. I've tried to make this as straightforward and as easy as possible for you guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach a link for you to download. Now, where is it? Where have I saved it? Oh, here it is. The color wheel, okay? This is actually just a very simple graphic from the original color wheel that I produced. This is it replicated as a JPEG. I will attach it to this tutorial so that you can import it into SketchUp. And the reason I've done that is so that you can use it to create all of those colors. Obviously, you can amend those to your own personal preference. You know, it's completely your decision, but I'm at least giving you a starting point, okay? So what we're going to do is, let's just zoom out a little and move this over to the left so we've got a little bit of room. We're going to go to File and Import, and we're just going to import that in. So, okay, so we're going to select it, click Import, and you can see that it's now attached to our cursor. So what we have to do is, click and drag, and then release so that we can keep it stationary in our file. So I'm just going to click here and drag that up to the size that I want and then click, okay? And there you have it, guys. It's now imported, and we're going to use that as the starting point to apply all of the colors in our own color wheel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the materials tray active because we're going to use this a little bit. And I'm going to create a new material. So let's start with yellow. So I'm going to name that material yellow and then click OK. I'm going to go to edit and then going to select match color on screen, and I'm going to select the yellow segment there. Okay, I'm going to click on that square and then click this section, and there you have it. There's yellow. And I'm going to select this icon here that says create material. It's basically going to create a duplicate of the yellow. So there you go, there's the yellow right there. I need to change that name to yellow orange, which is our tertiary, I think that's how you pronounce it, color. And then okay, then I go, so the edit tab is already selected. I'm going to click match color on screen. I'm going to click on this yellow orange color right here. You can see that it has changed. Then I'm going to click that square and boom. Now you're going to think, hold on a second, that is not showing as the right color, and you would be correct. And that's just to do with the shadow settings or sun settings in SketchUp. So we're going to change that. Let's hover over the default tray, or if you wanted, you could pin that to make it active, and then click use sun for shading. The minute you do that, you will see that color change. Okay, so it's just the sun settings that you need to modify a little to make sure that the color you have applied matches the color in the material, and you can see here that it now it does. Okay, so let's select create material. We're going to change that name to orange because that's the next color, and then select OK. We're going to click match color on screen right there. You can see that it has changed. We're going to click that square, and then we're going to click here. And I'm going to do that all the way. I'm going to repeat that same process the whole way around so that this entire color wheel replicates the colors that were used on this this JPEG that I've imported, okay? So give me 2 seconds and then we can progress from there, because I don't think I need to show you how to do all of those segments. Okay, so here is the final color wheel based on the colors that I have provided in the imported JPEG. What I'm going to do is delete that because we don't need it anymore. And I just want to remind you guys, don't forget to save the file. Go to File, Save As, give it an appropriate name, save it somewhere appropriate on your computer so that you're going to remember where it is. And if we go to the Select tab in the Materials tray, you can see all the colors that have been used here. You're also going to see some colors that haven't been used, and that's because they belong to the 2D person that was originally visible in this file when I first created it. So that's all. That's why they're there. What I wanted to talk about very quickly was how you would adjust some of these colors if you felt they weren't to your own personal preference. Okay. So for example, the yellow orange, if you wanted to make that a little more orange, you would go to the Edit tab and you could adjust it using the color wheel, but it isn't very precise. So I would suggest using the RGB values, and this one right here is the one that you should be adjusting. So instead of using the slider, I would recommend using the top and bottom arrow function here, just so that it's a little bit more precise. And the bottom arrow, you will actually see the slider moving to the left a little because that's adding more orange. You can see that this value starts here at yellow and goes right the way to red. Okay. To be honest, I think this violet color could probably be a little bit deeper. So if I go to edit, I'm not actually going to use the RGB sliders this time. I'm going to use the color wheel, and I'm going to use the slider right here just to bring that down a little, to make it a little bit deeper. There we go. I'm pretty happy with that. And then I'm going to click the pin right here just to remove visibility of that tray. And what I'm going to do is just select my scene so that I have this centered, it's maximized to the size of the screen. And before I send this to layout, I'm going to remove the edges because we don't need those. Then I'm going to right click the scene tab and select update, and then update scene so that that change to the style is saved. Then I'm going to save all of those changes, and then I'm going to select send to layout. Layout is already opened on my computer. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use any previous templates. I'm just going to open up a brand new plain paper file, and I'm going to choose A4 landscape. And there is our color wheel ready for whatever adjustments or refinements that we're going to make. So instantly what I'm going to do is change this graphic to a vector. So I'm going to select it, and then I'm going to go to SketchUp model tray, and in this drop down box I'm going to select vector and then click OK. And if you zoom in, you will see this is a nice crisp graphic, and that's exactly what you want. Okay, it just makes it that little bit more polished, crisp and professional. And then what I'm going to do is create a nice boxed section around this just to give it a little bit more visual weight on the screen or on the document. So I'm going to select the drop down arrow. No, not there. Yep, in this area, and select rounded. And then I'm going to click and drag. You don't need to hold the mouse down. You can just click and release and then drag. And I'm going to, let's see, let's just make it quite uniform. So I'm just going to type 190, comma, 190 and then enter. And let's just right click that and then select arrange and then send to back. Let's select the gray area here just to finish our actions on that shape. And I can instantly see that it's not wide enough. Okay, so let's just select it, click or hover over the little arrow here on the right hand side, and when you see the double arrow symbol, just click and drag to bring that out a little, and the same on the other side, and then release and click off that. And I think that's probably a good enough size. Let me look at the original. Yeah, that's probably a good enough size. And what about the height? Yep. Okay. What I'm going to do now is click on that, right click, hover over center, click vertically on page, right click, hover over center, click horizontally on page. I want to make sure that is centered. Okay. And as far as I'm aware, when the graphic was sent to layout, it would have been automatically centered, but let's just double check. Yeah, it was. Okay. So everything is perfectly centered on that A4 page right now. And for a little bit of visual interest, I'm going to add a background color on the outside kind of boundary here. So I'm going to go to File, Document Setup. I'm going to select Paper if it isn't already. And where it says Paper and Color right here, I'm going to click on that box. And here you will see a number of tabs that allow you to choose a specific or a certain type of color. So for example, on the wheel tab, if you just click anywhere on that wheel, you will see that you can click or select a huge range of colors. But I actually have a specific shade that I want. So I'm going to go to RGB and I'm going to type in those values, okay? So it's 232, 250, and 255, okay? So it's a very subtle, very light blue. And I want to make sure that when I export this A4 sized page with this color wheel on it, that the color in the background is also exported as well and saved on that PDF. So where it says print paper color, I'm just going to toggle that so that the tick appears, and then I'm going to select close. And you can see how amazing that looks already, okay? What I'm going to do now is add the labels for each of the colors. And initially I did have labels, so there was labels like this, but I have to be honest, adding that the whole way around for all of those sections looked very cluttered, so I decided against that. And what I did was just use text, plain text annotations. So let's start with yellow, okay? So I've just selected text. I'm going to click anywhere in this white area and I'm going to type yellow in caps. Okay, and then I'm going to press return, and then I'm going to take my caps off and I'm going to type primary, and then just click off that. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is this is the yellow color, but it's also a primary color. Okay, so that to show that I understand what the the categories are of these colors, but I want to make these two terms a little bit different from one another, okay? So I'm going to double click on that text box and I'm going to highlight primary. I'm going to go down to the text style. I'm going to click on the text color. And what I'm going to do is go to, I'm going to go to the wheel and let's bring that up to 59%. There we go. So we have yellow and primary. And what I'm going to do is make sure that object snap is off because I want complete control when I'm positioning all of these annotations. And I'm going to click and drag and kind of just aim for like the center area of that section and just have a nice little bit of distance there between that. Okay, let me just zoom in. If you need to get even more control, zoom in. Because it helps. So let's just move that up a little. Go to view, zoom extends. Let's take a look at that. Great. Okay. So that's our primary color. And the next one is our tertiary color, which is yellow orange. You always label it using the primary color first. So you guys know this, a tertiary color is equal parts of a primary color and a secondary color. So in this instance, this tertiary color, which is yellow orange, is made up of equal parts of the primary color yellow and the secondary color orange. Okay, so let's just select that, right click, copy, click off that in the gray area so that you're not selecting something else on that screen. Right click, paste. Wait for the cursor to change to the 4 directional arrows and then click and drag. Okay, just drag it anywhere for the minute. So we're going to change that. We're going to double click that text box. We're going to change that to yellow, orange. Make sure our caps are selected. Then we're going to change this. So take our caps off to tertiary. Tertiary. I think that's how you spell it. Let's just double check. Yes. Okay. And then we are going to go to the next color, which is orange. And I'm going to copy and paste. Bring that down. Bring it out a little. So what you want to try and do is keep the distance between the text and the edge of each of those sections pretty much the same, okay? So you can see here that I'm gradually getting a little bit wider as I go out. So let's just bring that in a little. I mean, you can always make little adjustments at the end when you see the entire graphic when it's all finished, but you kind of want to keep things consistent, okay? So if you have caps for the actual colors, keep it all caps. If you have light gray and standard font or, text size for the other category of the color, keep them all the same the whole way around. It's just a nice way to maintain uniformity and consistency. Okay, so we're going to change this to orange. So we're going to remove yellow, and then we're going to type secondary. Okay, now to save a little bit of time, as you go round, you're going to be repeating the primary, tertiary, and secondary elements of those colors. So this color is red, orange, okay? That's a tertiary color. So I'm going to select this one, copy, paste, bring that down. We'll position it a little more accurately in a minute. Double click. Okay, so that's caps lock, red, orange, and it's tertiary, so we don't need to type the bottom part because it already has tertiary there, okay? And then click off that in the grey area to finalize that action. The next color is red, so that's a primary color. So we're going to go up here to primary. We're going to select copy, paste. We're going to bring that down, and we're going to change that to red. So just select our caps. Whoops. I did have my cap selected, and we're not going to change that because it's already got the word primary, okay? And we're going to do that the whole way around until we get to yellow-green. Here you can see that I have added all of the annotations, and what I'm going to do is take one last little look to see if I need to adjust any of the annotations just so that they're all nicely positioned, and I think this could probably do with being moved over a little. And I really want to keep these two at the same level. So let's just move that up a bit. How does that look? Could move that down a little. Oh, it's being really fussy with me. Let's just move it up a bit. That's much better. And let's go to zoom extents. Okay, that looks much better. This could be moved in closer, and that's okay. This could be moved in a little closer. This obviously needs to be moved in and down. How's that? Let's just move in and take a closer look at that. So we just need to bring this up a little. Okay, so that's better. And let's go to zoom extents. How does that look? I think that looks pretty good. This looks a little close. Let's move that out a little. I know this looks really fussy, but I think little details like this make a big difference. And I think that looks pretty good. This could probably do with being moved in a little, and this one too, to be honest. Let's just move that in and up. How does that look? Okay, I think that looks grand. You could probably play around with that for an hour. What I'm going to do now is add the title, a color wheel, and you can see here that there's not a huge amount of space to do that. So if you realize that you don't have enough space and you're concerned about having to move everything because there's so many different elements to this, because I haven't used layers in layout, I just wanted to show you how to do this the quickest way possible. What I'm going to do is select everything. So I'm going to select this little white rounded square and then press shift, and I'm going to select everything and then group it, because I'm actually just going to reduce everything in size a little so that I can make a little bit more room for the title. And then I'm going to right click and select make group. So if I click and drag, everything is going to move. Okay. It just makes it easier to resize. And what I'm going to do is with that all those graphics selected, I'm going to hover over the top right hand corner. You could go to any corner, wait until the 2 arrows appear, click and then drag down and then release. Okay. I don't want to make it too small. I still want it to have a good amount of presence on the page. And then what I'm going to do is select it, right click, center, vertically on page, right click, center, horizontally on page. Okay. And what are we like? Okay. What I'm going to do now is just select the text, just click at the top here and type color wheel. I appreciate that if you're from the States and you're watching this, you spell color very differently. That's absolutely fine. Then what I'm going to do is just click off that, select that text box, scroll down to the text style tray, and I'm going to use, is it Angelina? I think this is my own font that I have downloaded onto my computer. And then I'm going to just take a look here at the different sizes. So I have 28. Let's keep it at 36. That's a nice size. I'm going to select that. Center vertically on, I don't want that. That was wrong. Center horizontally on page. So now we know that's completely horizontal, centered on that page. And I'm just going to move this down. I want to move this down a little. So let's do that. So that there's a little bit more breathing space between the title and the graphic. So let's just center that again, horizontally. There we go. And let's make sure this is centered horizontally. And that's it, guys. That is our color wheel showing primary, secondary, and tertiary colors. If you wanted to, you could add more details about you and the assignment. You could do that underneath here. You could make this a little smaller again, or you could actually just move this over to this side and add some details down here. It's completely up to you how you decide to lay that out. If you wanted to add more details, more personal details or assignment details, or even if you're creating this for social media, if you're a professional designer or your website or blog, it's completely up to you what you do after this. Then go to File, hover over Export, select PDF because that is the highest quality that you're going to get. This is the optimum quality that you're going to get. And I'm going to save it in here and I'm going to type color wheel final 2. And then I'm going to select save. And I always choose high for the output resolution and then export. And there it is right there. If we zoom in on that, you can see that that's excellent quality, very precise, nice and crisp, great colors there, and great text, very clear. Let's just go to 100% and just take a look at the overall image and graphic. And I hope that you have enjoyed this tutorial. And if you do decide to follow this tutorial and create your own color wheel in SketchUp, please post it on Instagram and tag the SketchUp Hub into it because I would love to see them. And if you're in my Facebook group, the SketchUp Hub Facebook group, please, if you create one of these, post it in the Facebook group and let me know how you're getting on, because I really do think it's one of the fantastic ways that you can use SketchUp. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if there are any other things that you would like help with, please leave a comment below and I will get back to you.